Hey everyone, welcome to Judging for the Win. I'm Dave, and this is my daily ruling. Amy plays Huntmaster of the Fells while she controls Tetzin, Gnome Champion. Can she use Liquimetal Coating to turn her Huntmaster into an artifact to get Tetzin's ability? Well, the answer is pretty straightforward here, which is that this does not work. This ability triggers whenever a double-faced artifact enters under your control. Immediately after anything happens in the game checks to see if what just happened caused that ability to trigger. If a normal, non-artifact double-faced card enters the battlefield, that does not match the trigger condition, and turning the double-faced card into an artifact after it enters will not change anything. Here's what we would need to make this work. A card like Mycosynth Lattice, which makes everything an artifact as a continuous effect. Continuous effects that modify characteristics of permanents apply simultaneously with the permanent entering the battlefield. Accordingly, they are taken into account when determining if an ability like Tetzin's triggers. Now, what about if you played this hostile? After all, it's an artifact on its backside, so if you played that land, would the Tetzin trigger? And unfortunately, this one does not work. While a double-faced card is on the battlefield, only the front face characteristics count. The characteristics of the other face are hidden from the game. In that case, well, what about this Toralf's Hammer? Its front face is not an artifact, but because this is a modal double-faced card, you could just play the artifact face of this card, and if you do, it will enter the battlefield with that face up. Therefore, the thing that just entered the battlefield is indeed an artifact, and it is a double-faced card, so Tetzin would indeed trigger. And yeah, there's this. Look, it's not a real double-faced card. But Dave, yeah, I know, if you turn it over, it's another Soul Ring and not a normal magic pack, still doesn't count, no trigger. But where does it say in the rules that it doesn't count? Well, it says in the rules that double-faced cards have some sort of a symbol that marks which face is the front face. And this one doesn't have a symbol like that. Satisfied? And also you need to change your sleeves so that they're opaque. Or use a substitute card. Why? Because it's a double-faced card. Seriously, Wizards, can we at least agree that some gimmicks are not a good idea? Hey, now here's a fun fact. It turns out that Tetzin also is a double-faced card. And would you look at that? When you transform Tetzin, it has another ability that deals with double-faced artifacts. Well, let's see how this one plays out with some of those examples. Okay, so if you had a Creeping In, you would be able to use the Golden-Gear Colossus' ability to revert that back into a hostile. It doesn't matter that transforming is generally a one-way trip for this card. If something in the game says to transform a transforming double-faced card, well, that's what happens. But that's only for transforming double-faced cards. In contrast, modal double-faced cards cannot transform at all. So if you were to target Toralf's Hammer with the Golden-Gear Colossus' ability, it would stay as the hammer. You would still get the 2 gnome tokens though. Just because part of an ability is impossible to perform doesn't mean the rest is. Okay, but what if you were going to transform this Optimus Prime, which is just a normal transforming double-faced card, with the Golden-Gear Colossus' ability? Except someone responds to that by using Neurok Transmuter to make that artifact creature blue and not an artifact until end of turn. Well, in that case, the game would see that the target of the Golden-Gear Colossus' ability is not legal when that ability tries to resolve. If all of the targets of an ability become illegal by the time that ability tries to resolve, then the ability is removed from the stack and none of its effects will happen. This rule applies even though choosing a target for this ability is optional. Accordingly, the Optimus Prime would not transform, and not only that, Amy wouldn't get any tokens either. Whew, that was a lot. Let's cool down with some challenge questions to test your understanding. Amy uses the Golden-Gear Colossus' ability targeting Guild-Pact Paragon, which is the back face of Invasion of Ravnica. What happens? Well, as you can tell from the upside-down triangle symbol, this is a transforming double-faced card, so an instruction to transform it is carried out totally normally. The Siege won't have a protector, because when it was exiled and recast, it became a new object with no connection to its previous identity. So the next time state-based actions are performed, Amy will choose a protector for it. Unfortunately, that's kind of a moot point because the Siege also won't have any defense counters on it for a similar reason, which means that another state-based action will be putting that battle into Amy's graveyard. If you'd like more information on how battles work in general, I recommend my How Do Battles Work video for a full overview. Alright, here's a related question. What if Amy makes Elesh Norn into an artifact somehow, and then she attempts to transform that? Well, this one actually does fare a little bit better. Like Invasion of Ravnica, Elesh Norn is a transforming double-faced card, so the instruction to transform it is carried out entirely normally. Because Elesh Norn is transforming on the battlefield, that does not count as it entering the battlefield, meaning that, similar to the previous example, it does not get the normal counter that sagas get as they enter. Unlike seizures, though, sagas do not die from having no counters, but from having too many. While it's not normally possible to have a saga on the battlefield with no counters on it, there's no rule against that. So the Argent etchings will remain on the battlefield, patiently waiting until Amy's next pre-combat main phase, at which point it will get its first lore counter and its Chapter 1 ability will trigger. It would even be possible for Amy to then make the Argent etchings into an artifact and transform it back into Elishanorn via the Golden-Gear Colossus that turn. Since it's not leaving the battlefield, the lore counter will remain on it while this happens. Again, kind of weird, but not against the rules. Pretty cool, right? And that's all I have for you today. How did you do? Join me again next time for another daily ruling. Until then, I hope you have a great day.